Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ, still downstairs. A couple of years ago, when Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was about to release, I thought it would be fun to make a video where I took a guess at some of the characters that might cameo in the film, ranking them on a scale of 0 being not going to appear at all, to 10 being there's no way they will not appear in this movie. And I was wrong on pretty much every account. But we have arrived at a new movie that promises to have some cameos in it. It's certainly going to have more than Multiverse of Madness did. I hope that they all work and don't detract from the story, but we shall see on July 26th. But it means that I have decided to do this again. So what we're going to do, this video is literally just going to be me running down this list of characters that I have theorized could be in this movie, talking about each one and giving them a score on how likely they are to appear. So, if you guys look at my screen now, boom, love the power of editing, we've got 3 columns here. So the first column is X-Men, mutant, Deadpool-related characters in general. Any of those characters are that first column there. The second column is other MCU characters, not necessarily specific to Deadpool or the world of X-Men, but characters that we've seen in the MCU previously. And then this third column here that only has 3 names on there is celebrities that I think will be appearing in this movie. So on that note, let's hop into it. We'll work the columns left to right. So we will start with all the X-Men characters. I have them all blacked out here so that it doesn't spoil who's coming up for you guys. And what's funny is I have forgotten some of these from when I wrote up the list last night. So let's... You can see the name there. Okay, kicking off, we have Charles Xavier, and under it, I have young Charles Xavier. Let's just do these both at the same time. So the reason there's 2 is because James McAvoy could also be in this movie. But Charles Xavier, the Patrick Stewart Charles Xavier, I'm going to give him the same score I gave him for Multiverse of Madness, 10 out of 10. There's no way he's not in this movie. I know there have been some reports based off those like screenings already that he's in the movie. I don't know. I'm not considering anything legitimate until I've seen the movie. So by my standards, this is a rumor. 10 out of 10 chance that Patrick Stewart's Xavier will be in this movie. Makes sense. They're bringing Logan back, bringing Xavier back as well. Those 2 always worked great as a pair. Now, as for young Charles, I don't really think he'll be in here purely because they already have Patrick Stewart in here. I'm not going to give him a 0. I'm just going to give it a highly unlikely chance he'll be in here. I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10, actually, for the chances that James McAvoy's Xavier appear in the film. All right, next up, I'm going to do these next 2 as a pair also. It is Magneto and young Magneto. I think there is a lesser chance Ian McKellen is in this film than Patrick Stewart. I think there's a chance Ian McKellen's just not in this. Is Ian McKellen still acting, by the way? Isn't he like 97? He's 85. Okay. I'm going to give him a 6. Honestly, I'm going to give it a 6 that we see Ian McKellen's Magneto in this. I think there's a chance. I don't think he'd be in as much of it as Patrick Stewart would. I think if they bring Patrick Stewart into this movie, he would either have a sizable role being the brother of the villain, or he would be like very important to his chunk in the movie, kind of like he is in Multiverse of Madness. if that makes any sense. But I think Magneto would just show up at one point, like when they're at the hideout and they've got all the X-Men characters there. I think he would just be there if he were to be in the movie. I don't think he'll be like a main member of the squad. Young Magneto, though, has a higher chance of appearing than young Charles does, in my mind. I think it's just due to the fact that Michael Fassbender was so loved in his time as Magneto, and I think he would come back. I think he'd be more likely to come back than Ian McKellen is. That said, I'm going to give him a lower score than Ian McKellen purely because I think there's a chance they said, well, if we don't get the original, we're not going to do it at all. So I'm going to go right between young Charles and Magneto. I'm going to give Michael Fassbender a 4 out of 10 for appearing in this film. All right, moving on, we have Cyclops. There's only one Cyclops I feel would be in this movie. That's James Marsden. I don't think much of the young cast would be in this. I honestly think the only young cast members that would be in this movie are James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, if they're in it at all. Otherwise, I think they're just going to go with the classics. Those are the ones everyone knows well, and I mean, those are the ones that also worked opposite Hugh Jackman. By the way, I am still sick, so I will be drinking water regularly throughout this video. Also, if you hear me cough and sniffle, that's why that is. I'm gonna try to cut those out of the edit, but you never know. So I think there's a insanely high chance that Cyclops is in this movie. If he is, he'll be in the comic accurate suit, which is why I think he'll be in it. I think they'll want to give us that because for some reason we never got that in the original movies, and then they blue-balled us in Apocalypse. Not as likely to appear as Patrick Stewart, though. However, I'm going to give him a 9. I think there's a very high chance he's in this. Actually, I'm going to lower it to 8. Okay. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Moving on to whoever's under Cyclops, I've got Jean Grey. Same thing, we'd be dealing with a Famke Janssen Jean Grey if she's in this. I think I'm going to give her a lesser... Well, let's see, she was part of the original run. And by original run, I mean the original movie. Yes, I know she's an original X-Man also, but she is in the original movie. I think if you're gonna do one member from the original team, it's Cyclops. So I don't think there's as high of a chance they got Jean Grey back for this. That said, I think if they got one member, they tried to get all of them, but I'm not gonna base this on that as much as I would love to see those 4 together again. I'm gonna give Jean the same chance I gave Magneto. I'm gonna give her a 6 out of 10. I think that's over a 50% chance that she's in it. Which means, if I was smart, the next person on this is, yup, Storm! Halle Berry, Storm, of course. I'm gonna give her a 7. So, my logic behind these is Cyclops has the highest chance of appearing, especially like now with how much Cyclops content there is in the comics and in X-Men 97. People yearn for Cyclops. People are starting to realize how great of a character he is. And I mean, ever since those original movies wrapped up, people have been complaining how Cyclops was used. I think they're going to try to rectify that and give us some good Cyclops fan service here. So if anyone from that original movie is most likely to appear, it's him. Storm, I've got in between Cyclops and Jean because Halle Berry's Storm was a fan favorite. Anytime she popped up, people loved her. I loved her. We last saw her in Days of Future Past, where she got impaled. Well, I guess we saw her at the end of the movie, but everyone remembers her for getting impaled in that movie. So I think they'll toss her in there for a little bit. It might be fun. And then just vibes that Jean Grey might not be in this. But I am of the opinion if they already have Wolverine in the movie, if they have both Cyclops and Storm, try to get Jean Grey and finish it off. My dog's having a bad dream right now. But yeah, just trying to finish off the set and get all 4 of the members of that team back. And that brings us to our other character from the original X-Men movie. Not a member of the team, but an instrumental character in that movie. Rogue, played by Anna Paquin. Love her character. I know she was fairly underused later on, but I love her in the first one, love her in the second one. She's barely in The Last Stand, and then her role in Days of Future Past is small but impactful. That said, as much as I wish she was in it, I don't think Rogue's gonna be in this movie. I'm also going to give her a 2 out of 10. No, I'm going to give her a 3. Give her a 3 out of 10. I like that Sheets pulled up the calendar there. Yeah, I don't know what Rogue would do in the movie. Rogue is a hard character to adapt because of how her power set works. Her powers aren't cinematic. I mean, what you would do with her logically is what they do in the comics now, where she just has Captain Marvel's power set because she held on to Captain Marvel for too long. But you're not going to do that in this movie. So, I don't know. I think Rogue's a very hard one to adapt on screen, I think. And I think if you're putting her next to all these other powerhouse mutants, just wouldn't be exciting. And for that reason, I don't think she'd be in this movie. Also, don't know what you would do with her in the movie. Okay, moving on. I just put Liv Schreiber here because Liv Schreiber Sabretooth would have taken up too much of the screen. Now, if you had asked me a month ago if Liv Schreiber would be in this movie, I would have given it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. However, Tyler Mane is in this movie, and we've seen him in one of the trailers. I don't think they're going to put both Sabretooths in here. That said, I still really want Liv Schreiber. He's the best part of Origins. He's the best Sabretooth. I love him in everything he's in. So I'm not going to give him like a super low chance of being in the movie. I mean, it's a multiverse. You can bring in multiple of the same character, as evident by the fact that we're going to get a bunch of different Deadpools in this, and we might be getting a bunch of different Wolverines in this as well. So, I mean, it's not a no that he won't appear in the movie. I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to go middle of the road on this, because they know how much we like his Sabretooth. They almost put him in Logan also. So, like, the people making these movies are not unaware that we like Liv Schreiber's Sabretooth. Also, if they're going to be making fun of X-Men Origins Wolverine, which they will, put the best part of the movie in this movie. But I'm going to go middle of the road. I would have put him higher if Tyler Mane wasn't confirmed. I know there were set photos of him, but, like, for the sake of this activity, we're only looking at officially released things. Next up, I've got, here's a fun one. So I broke away from the mutant one for this. Because, I don't know, I was just putting him over here and it felt right. Because Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, is in this movie. Now, if you were to ask the people who made this movie about it, if you were to ask Jennifer Garner about it, she would say that no, she can't talk about it. None of them can talk about it. It's been officially released that Elektra's in the film. We know she's in the movie. So, let's put Daredevil in there also. And I think Ryan Reynolds bringing back Ben Affleck Daredevil, when there is both A, much better Daredevil, and B, another a fan favorite Ben Affleck comic book character that they decided to underutilize, I think it would be the most big dick move to bring back his version of Daredevil. I think he's gonna be in this movie. I'm not gonna give him a 10. I think that's too high. But I'm gonna give him the same score as Cyclops. I think there's a very high chance he's in this movie. And I mean, Ryan Reynolds loves doing off-screen references. I mean, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner have children together. They seem to still be on good terms. And so it'd be funny for all the Ben and Jen fans to be like, oh my God, it's the two of them together. You know how those people are. And then, yeah, you get all the references of him being Daredevil. I'm sure they'd try to toss in a Batman reference. And then you just get the knowledge that they brought him back to do something before they even brought him back as Batman to do something. I think it would be too funny of an opportunity for Ryan Reynolds to pass up. So I think there's a high chance Ben Affleck's in this film. Moving on, I've got Origins Gambit. I have two Gambits on here, so let's just take them both away. So I've got Origins Gambit and Tatum Gambit. I'm going to 0 that we see Origins Gambit in this movie. Oh my God, can you please format right? Okay, that's just probably not gonna... Haha! But I don't think, if you're gonna have a Gambit, it's gonna be Channing Tatum. Because, so for those of you who do not know, so Taylor Kitsch plays Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. They were intending on making a Gambit film starring Channing Tatum that never got off the ground. And so there have been some rumors that Ryan Reynolds will let him do it for this movie. Cameo in this movie. Maybe even be more than a cameo. And so if you're going to do a Gambit, you would do Channing Tatum Gambit, I personally think. So I think he has a solid chance. I don't think he's got a Cyclops or a Daredevil chance. I'm going to give him a 7. I'll give him the same thing as Storm. Actually, no, that feels too low. I think he might just straight up be in this movie. I'll give him the same score as Daredevil and Cyclops. I'll give him an 8 out of 10 that he pops up. Because, yeah, I'm like, you've got a guy who was campaigning really hard to be Gambit. He was supposed to be Gambit. He's talked openly about the film and then how heartbroken he was when it didn't work out and how he's struggled with enjoying comic book movies since then. If you're going to do a whole X-Men reset that involves recasting all of your X-Men, give him one movie to be this character that he really wanted to be. Makes sense. Next up, we have Origins Deadpool. Now, this might be my most head-ass take of the video. This dude's gonna be in the movie. I'm still of the opinion that the head Deadpool, because we have heard there's gonna be a version of Deadpool that's just a head with a propeller. I think that might be him. I think it would be really weird for Ryan Reynolds to not do a multiverse Deadpool movie and not put this version of Deadpool in it just to make fun of it. And also, he's been in one of the other Deadpool movies. He's in Deadpool 2. They don't use any new footage of him, but Deadpool kills him. Like, that's all we need of him. I think he has just as likely of a chance of being in this movie as Charles Xavier, who is kind of already confirmed to be in this movie. I don't think they'd pass up the opportunity to put Origins Deadpool, at least just the head, in this one. I think, is the next one who I think it is? Yup. Okay, let's get into another 10 out of 10. I've got X-23. Daphne Keene's X-23, the Logan X-23. Now, will it be the same version from Logan? Not sure on that. I think there's a chance it could be, but it's what we're looking at here is a Daphne Keene played version of X-23 why would she not be in the movie? Pair her up with Wolverine again. She's a fan favorite. Everyone loves that movie. Everyone loves her in that movie. And she's a little choreo queen. Watch her acolyte behind the scenes stuff. I mean, like, give her a fight sequence with Wolverine. I feel like we'd be missing out. I feel like she's all but confirmed to be in this movie. I feel like it's so known at this point that she's in this movie that the only thing they have to do is just say, yes, you guessed it, she's in the movie. I don't even think she's a cameo, quite honestly. I think she's gonna have a more significant role. I think she might be with them for a little bit of the adventure. Not the whole movie. I think most of the adventure is just supposed to be the two of them. But I think how the story's gonna go down is they assemble an army of people to go fight Cassandra Nova. And I think she'll be one of the first ones that they recruit on that army. And so for like the last 30–40% of the film, she'll be with them. I don't know. That's just my guess. Who I got left here? Mystique. Okay. When I say Mystique, I mean Rebecca Romijn Mystique. I do not mean Jennifer Lawrence Mystique. She's never coming back. So Mystique was originally not on here, but I added her because I was thinking about the fact that they have Pyro, Azazel, Lady Deathstrike. Like, they're digging into some of the characters you would not have expected to be in this. I mean, you could have expected Pyro to be in this. But like Azazel and Lady Deathstrike being in this movie, I never would have guessed. Same with Juggernaut, who's in this movie. Last Stand Juggernaut is in this. So I went ahead and put Mystique on here. That said, I don't think there's a high chance. I'm also going to go ahead and give her a 3. I just think you've got so many members of the Brotherhood already that why would you go ahead and toss Mystique in there when we've had so much Mystique in this franchise? I mean, she's one of the main villains in the first 2. She's in the front bit of the 3rd one, and then they decided to make her a major character in First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. And they killed her in Dark Phoenix. So I don't want to see Mystique again until we get to the actual MCU version of these characters. I think they're like, just highlight the other members of the Brotherhood instead of her. So for that reason, I'm giving her a low score. Is it partially out of spite? Yeah, but like, it's my video. I can do what I want. Next up on here, I believe the last one I have in this column is Iceman, who is played by, I can never remember, is it Shawn Ashmore that plays him? Yep, it's Shawn Ashmore that plays him. Okay. I think Iceman's only in this movie if Rogue is in this movie. The reason I don't need Iceman in here is like a lot of the characters I'm giving higher chances to is the characters that we didn't see as much of in the Fox movies, that didn't get as much of their time to shine. Cyclops didn't get much time to shine, gets a higher chance. Channing Tatum Gambit didn't get to be Gambit, higher chance. Jean and Storm, same thought process. Iceman was dope in those movies though. Like, he's a member of the team. He gets that fight with Pyro. That's not the longest fight, but it's just in terms of character, it's a great fight. One of the best parts of Days of Future Past. His fight scenes in that movie are dope. And I mean, we were following him from the very beginning. So if we're going to highlight characters, let's highlight other ones than Iceman. Even though I love Iceman, I'm the leader of the Iceman fan club. He's one of my favorite X-Men. But yeah, I'm gonna give him the same. I'm actually giving him a lower chance than Rogue that he appears in this. I'm gonna give Iceman a 2. That he appears in this movie. I hope he does. If he appears and fights Pyro again, oh my god, I would be the happiest dude in that theater. But yeah, as it stands, I don't think Iceman is gonna be in this film. So, with the exception of Daredevil, that's all of like the mutant-centered characters. Now we're gonna get into some other characters. So I know I mentioned MCU characters. There's also some like couple other Marvel characters in general in here that could appear. So I've got Captain Carter. Captain Carter originally did not make this list. I made the list yesterday, but I added her this morning because I was watching a couple clips from What If and remembered that she has become like a pillar of the multiverse saga for some reason. That said, she's not going to be in the movie, so I'm going to give her 3, but I figured I'd put her in here also. Actually, 3's too high, I'm sorry. I'm going to give her a 2. She gets the same score as Iceman. Actually, no, that shit's also too high. Let's give her a 1. But I put her on here because we're dealing with a multiverse. She's a multiversal character. I am still of the opinion that the reason she gets such a play in What If is because they want to bring her over into live action one day. Not as like the Multiverse of Madness version, but although I wish they were the same version. But I think they want to make Haley Atwell a member of the Multiversal Avengers when they get to Secret Wars. So I don't think she'd be in this one, but I think that we'll see her in the future. We'll see her in future movies. But I figured I'd put her name on here as well. I definitely read a rumor about it at some point. Big multiverse person. Moving on. That's enough of Captain Carter. We've got Kang the Conqueror. Kang in some capacity. He is in here because of the fact that he's the main villain of the multiverse saga. Still interested to see who's going to be replacing him. But I went ahead and tossed him on here. I don't think they would have done a recast for Kang this quickly. If Kang were to be in the movie, it would be Jonathan Majors. That's also part of the reason I don't think he'd be in it. They would have had time to cut him out, unlike Loki that was like, he was already built into that show's DNA. I'm going to give him a low score also. I'm going to give him a higher score than Captain Carter, purely for the reason that he could be in a post-credit scene that they added later as a recast. We cannot rule that out. If they recast Kang, there's a chance he could pop up in this movie for a couple seconds, either in a post-credit scene or as a third-act cameo. I still think it's low. I think their focus is so much on Deadpool and Wolverine, they're not going to be as focused on Kang, which to me is good. I'm okay doing some multiverse stuff away from Kang. It's one of the reasons I like Multiverse of Madness. I'm going to give him a higher chance than Captain Carter, but still super low. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10 that Kang the Conqueror is in this movie. Moving on. Blade. Now, here's where things get interesting, because the Blade in question is Wesley Snipes' Blade. Now, we have all heard, actually I don't think we've all heard, Blade Trinity. The third Blade movie, Ryan Reynolds is in it. He and Wesley Snipes do not like each other. At least that, I believe that's still the case, is that those two men do not like each other. There is a shot in one of the TV spots for Deadpool and Wolverine where you see a guy who looks like Blade, but it's like the CW Blade, that people think he did just to spite Wesley Snipes and be like, yeah, he gets to come back over you. So in that case, we shouldn't give him a high chance of appearing. But also, could you imagine getting him for one last go? Be beautiful. Here's the thing. I'm going to give him a higher chance than I'm giving Captain Carter and Kang. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. There's always a chance they could have brought him back for like a scene or just have him get killed or something. You never know. So, also, Wesley Snipes has been very vocal about his thoughts on the MCU's take on Blade. I'm sure he would jump at the chance to play Blade again. I don't know. I want to see him. Also, my dream. So, Secret Wars, one of the things I want is I want Wesley Snipes' Blade, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to be a trio. They were the 3 Marvel characters that kept Marvel alive for years. I want the 3 of them to team up. They'd be the legacy trio. Be beautiful. Just give it to me. Anyway, let's move on here. I believe the next one is Ghost Rider. If there would be a Ghost Rider in this, it would either be Nicolas Cage or it would be just the Flaming Skull the whole time. That we wouldn't have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider in this. I don't think we'd have a main MCU Ghost Rider in this. They wouldn't do that in this movie. It would either be Nicolas Cage or the Spider-Man No Way Home route where it's just the CG effect the entire time and we just see the Ghost Rider skull. But like, it'd be a waste of Ghost Rider. Get Nicolas Cage or don't do it. So in terms of Ghost Rider, as much as I wanted to be there, Ghost Rider's my boy. He is one of my favorite Marvel characters. I love Ghost Rider. He's getting a 0. I don't think it makes sense to put Ghost Rider in a movie that's already set to have so many characters in it. So, I'm giving him a 0, but like, I want him in there. I don't think he will be. I also think Nicholas, well, you know what? Actually, hold on. I'm going to change this because I just remember Nicolas Cage came in briefly for The Flash. Although we don't talk about what they did to him on The Flash. But he has shown, he's a huge nerd, and he has already shown he's willing to come in for like a day just to film a fun cameo for fan service, because he just enjoys doing things like that, and he's iconic as Ghost Rider. I'm gonna up it. I'm gonna up it from a 0 to a 3. I'll give him the same chance as Blade for appearing in this film. I was going to go higher, I was going to give him a 4, but then I was like, I don't know, if so many of these legacy characters, I feel like there's a lot you would take before Ghost Rider. So, give him a low chance. But God, man, I need him in the movie. Mobius! So I read this too quickly. I thought that said Morbius for a second. And I was like, man, what was I on last night? Did I legitimately put Morbius down? No, Mobius M. Mobius. So the reason Mobius is here is because of the TVA. Paradox is in this movie. Mobius might also be in this movie. I know it's a stretch because actors travel for different projects, but Owen Wilson was hanging out, I believe, in London while they were filming the TVA stuff for Deadpool. So, like, it's a stretch, but I'm going to take it as a chance. I'm going to give Mobius a 7 out of 10. I think that's the same chance I gave him for Multiverse of Madness, honestly. I can't remember, but I want to say I gave him a similar chance of appearing. But I mean, we're going to the TVA. Just give me Mobius. Does he still work there? Because they leave it unclear at the end of Loki Season 2. He just stands there for a while. I mean, they could say he went back to the TVA. I wouldn't be upset by it if he went back to working there and, you know, kept working for that greater purpose that the TVA is now. Would it suck if they kind of confirm how certain things ended after Loki? Little bit, whatever. Speaking of Loki... Loki! Loki's a weird one for me because he's the king of everything. He's the king of time. He is the king of the multiverse. Loki rules everything, and you've got a titular character who's jumping between universes and going to the void. And that said, we're not going to see Loki. Next time we see Loki is going to be in Avengers, just so everyone's aware. I think it'd be weird to bring Loki in, because the only reason you would bring Loki in is if he has to leave his throne to go interfere with something, but then that opens like so many plot lines that would take away from Deadpool and Wolverine. I'd rather just focus on Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm all for them mentioning Loki and the guy on top there and this dude that's just beyond time. We're not gonna see him. Unless it's a post-credit scene. I'm gonna treat it like it's not, though. I'm gonna give Loki, not over there, I'm gonna give Loki a 0 out of 10 for appearing in this film. All right, I think I know who the next batch of characters are. Wong! Wong! I forgot I put Wong on here. Wong was another late addition, but if there is a connective tissue character in the Multiverse Saga, it's Wong. I mean, he's in like everything. But yeah, I think Wong has a high chance of being in this movie for one reason. The portal in the trailer. If anyone cast it, it's most likely to be Wong. And again, Wong's been our connective tissue. He's kind of the character that's reminding us of all these things that are connected. And what better way, if you're making Deadpool, if you're bringing him into the MCU and you're doing a Doctor Strange portal, let Wong be like the guy, like the front desk dude of the MCU. I'm gonna give Wong a very high chance of being in this. He's going up there with Cyclops and Daredevil. He's getting an 8. I'm ready to see my boy Wong again, not gonna lie. If this next one is Hulk, okay, yay. We're getting into this next group of characters all have something in common. But we'll get to the rest of them when we get there. Hulk, I think, if you're gonna take one of the Avengers, you're gonna put him in this, it's Hulk. Because then you can do Deadpool, or you can do Hulk versus Wolverine. Which is amazing. I think there's a solid chance of Hulk. I don't think there's as high a chance of like the ones I have at 8s. I don't think he's an 8 out of 10 chance of appearing. But I could see there being a Hulk in the Void. Or when they, I don't know, maybe they jump through the MCU and they have to fight Hulk. MCU Hulk kind of sucks now. I'd want an angry Hulk. But I want to see Hugh Jackman Wolverine fight a Hulk. I mean, unless they do that in a future Avengers vs. X-Men movie. I mean, let's be real, Hugh Jackman's gonna be this character up through Secret Wars. Deep in thought now. I'm now torn, I don't know. I'm confused on Hulk. I'm gonna give it a 6. I think the reason is Hulk has a good chance of being in it, but his role would have to be super specific. He'd be a hard one to just throw in there. So the reason I'm giving him a 6 instead of something higher is because I can totally see them being like, nah, that's something that'd be tough to put in here. But we got Hulk at a 6. We're gonna do these next 3 characters together. It's Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Now you guys are probably wondering why these 3 are in here. I will give you this though. Thor gets a 10. For one reason, because apparently I think in the CinemaCon footage, Chris Hemsworth is in the movie. But it's just the shot for Thor The Dark World, reused, but with Deadpool instead of Loki there. So I'm giving him a 10, because that's technically a cameo. Now as for Captain America and Iron Man, the reason I have them here is because for Captain America, I think people would just be interested in seeing him again, although Chris Evans will appear in a minute again. Spoiler alert. Iron Man's only on here because of the car with the little Iron Man thing on it, but I don't think either of them will be in here. I included them because we know Thor's in the movie, Hulk might be in the movie, and there have been Iron Man Easter eggs, so I was like, on that account, I'll include them. I don't think either of them are here. I think Marvel wants to wait for Secret Wars to bring back both of these guys. There's no way they're not in Secret Wars. So I'm giving them 0s for this movie, but 10s for the Secret Wars one when I get to that in a few years. All right, I told you Chris Evans was coming back. I got the Fantastic Four. Now, I did not do actors on this. I did not do eras on this. I didn't even separate out the characters. I just did the Fantastic Four. Because the Fantastic Car is in the movie. We see it in the trailers. So does that mean the Fantastic Four are going to come with it? I don't know. Does that also mean that we're getting the original, like 2005 Fantastic Four? I also don't know. I think if you're going to do a Fantastic Four, you do that group. I'm going to give the Fantastic Four, a pun not intended, a 4 out of 10. Not that. A 4 out of 10. Because I think it'd be a weird balance to try to fit them in there. I think you could do one of them. You could put like Mr. Fantastic in for sure. But I think it'd be a weird balance to try to fit the Fantastic Four in there with the characters we already know are in the movie, the characters that are speculated to be in this movie, and the knowledge that we're getting a Fantastic Four movie next year. So they get a 4, which is the perfect number for them. But I don't want to completely rule it out because the car's in the damn movie. Who's the last guy I got on here? I thought the Fantastic Four were at the bottom. Who's left? Oh, Dr. Doom. No. Look, there's been rumors that Dr. Doom's going to be in this. Those people in the void have masks that kind of look like Dr. Doom. He's not going to be in the movie. I don't know, like, I have no argument for why he won't be in it. Honestly, it's just like, no offense to the people who are so convinced that Dr. Doom will be in this, but listen to yourself. Honestly, there's no way they're putting Dr. Doom in this movie, again, with a Fantastic Four movie next year, with how many characters are also in this. And why would you put Dr. Doom in it? Because you would want Doom to steal the show. Why would you put Dr. Doom in it if your main villain is from a completely separate branch of the comics and you're doing a love letter to the Fox universe? They're not putting Dr. Doom in this movie. It's just not going to happen. Respectfully, stop thinking he'll be in this movie. You're setting yourselves up for so much disappointment. Now, on the other hand, if you're like me and you say, no, he won't be in this movie, you now get to not be disappointed when he is. So, there you go. Anyway, let us move on now to our last category. Now, these are 3 actors, celebrities that have a shot at being in this movie. 2 of them are highly speculated to be in it, and 1 of them is rumored to be in it based off the fact they've worked with Ryan Reynolds before. First one, let's get it out of the way. Taylor Swift. I don't like that she's definitely gonna be in this movie. Because I don't like Taylor Swift. There you go. I don't like her at all. I'm going to end it there before you guys kill me. But, like, she's friends with Ryan Reynolds. She's friends with Sean Levy. She's friends with Hugh Jackman. She is so popular right now. The only problem is putting her in this movie will instantly date it because the Eras Tour ended, right? Is it over yet? I don't think it's over yet. But once the Eras Tour is over, everyone's just gonna go back to being like, oh, hey, it's Taylor Swift, instead of thinking she's a literal goddess. God, I hate Swifties. She's getting a 9. I know that, like, an article came out where everyone was like, no, we promise she's not in the movie. She's in the damn movie. It's so clear that she's, no, you know what? No, she's getting a 10. Taylor Swift, unfortunately, gets a 10. There's no way she's not going to be in this movie playing the Dazzler, and I hate it so damn much. I don't like Taylor Swift. Anyway, on to someone under her who I really do like, and who I'm also certain will be in this movie, Blake Lively. I hope she's playing Lady Deadpool. And you know what? Blake Lively also getting a goddamn 10 out of 10. The only thing, I'm gonna calm down. Taylor Swift got me upset. The only person who would play Lady Deadpool other than Blake Lively would be Ryan Reynolds in a bunch of makeup. That's it. Those are the only two options. But I think it's going to be Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds likes casting his friends and family, and Blake Lively's his wife. Also, there's not a man on earth that would be upset over seeing Blake Lively in anything. And Lady Deadpool's confirmed. So she is also getting a 10 out of 10. Our last one on here, and this has been speculated for a little bit, not as heavily rumored as both Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, but it is Walker Scobell. So for those of you who say the name might ring a bell, but you're not sure who's being referred to here, Walker Scobell was in the Adam Project. He played the young version of Ryan Reynolds, and he is also the new Percy Jackson. He is Ryan Reynolds' protege. Also, he's kind of becoming like a mini Ryan Reynolds. I mean, look at the press tour for the Adam Project. They are always talking about Deadpool, and this kid just quotes the opening monologue of Deadpool 2. And it is hilarious because it's so messed up, and he was little at the time. I don't even know how old this dude is now. He's 15. Okay, so he's still young enough to play the kid version of Deadpool is basically what I'm getting at here. That said, I don't think there's a super high chance he appears. I'm going to go middle of the road for him. Like, I know I just said for Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, Ryan likes casting his buddies and his family. Walker Scobell it's his mini him. So I could see him in the movie. If he's in it, he would be playing Kid Deadpool. That's it. There you guys go. So looking back at all of these are chances of various characters that have been rumored or speculated, and some of just my own thrown in there of who will appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. The likely ones, or I mean the ones that are happening for sure: Xavier, Origins Deadpool, X-23, Thor, Taylor Swift, Blake Lively, Cyclops, Gambit, Wong, very high. And then some of the characters I love are very low: Rogue, Mystique, Iceman, Ghost Rider, Blade. Probably not gonna be in this, but hey, you never know in a Ryan Reynolds movie what favors he called in. But so there you guys go. Those are my rankings on the likeliness of certain people to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. Let me know some of the people that you think will cameo down in the comments below, but if it's someone that has been confirmed through leaks, I will remove the comment. If I see any of those, I don't want to deal with any leaks today. I know that they are very hard to miss, but there's some people who have not seen said leaks. I want to keep the movie as spoiler-free for them as possible. So if I see anything on leaked actors or characters, the comments, leaving. I don't think that's too much of an ask. But again, leave any ideas or speculations on characters or actors that could be appearing in this movie down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.